You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any new callers, but we got Mike Hebring, a.k.a. Packer Superfan. What's going on?
Good morning, Ryan. Mike Hebring, a.k.a. Packer Superfan.
Howdy.
Ryan, this is spring. Hope springs eternal, I guess. Isn't that the saying? With the training camp opening today, I think it's important that we kind of plant the flag on the roster. I mean, I know there'll be some camp decisions to be made on the final 53 as they get through training camp and the preseason games. But I think for the most part, everybody has a pretty good idea who that final 53 is going to be. Give or take a player or two. I mean, it's you never have a lot of huge surprises. So I think we kind of know where we're at with the roster. And, I think there's been a lot of discussion about, did Goody go out and make enough moves in the off season to get this roster to a place where, it has enough talent on it to win a Super Bowl. And I think that, it's important with training camp starting that we plant the flag on that now. I mean, I think that, certainly what I'm hearing on social media and certainly in the podcast community is that I think it's pretty much a consensus that everyone agrees that the roster is good enough right now to win a Super Bowl. And there's a lot of caveats that people throw out, health being obviously the main one, if they can stay healthy. That seems to be the main caveat. I think that's where a lot of people go for excuses as to why they finished the way they did last year. So, assuming they stay relatively healthy, I mean, obviously there's, the only thing that's certain in the NFL is injuries. And there's going to be new ones this year. I mean, yeah, we're going to get some of these guys back and they may play the whole season, but we're going to have other players that are going to go down. That's just the way it works. So, again, that's the realistic take on injuries. But, I think again, most everyone seems to be very bullish on this roster. And everybody's saying they definitely are good enough to go to the Super Bowl or maybe even win a Super Bowl. So, I think it's important we plant the flag there and say, yep, okay, the roster's good enough. Goody did his job. Now the question is, can the coaching staff, can Matt LaFleur and his coaching staff, turn this roster into a Super Bowl level team? And so, at the end of the day, at the end of the season, whether they're successful or not,
we'll get to part two. I had a couple comments, but I kind of want to see where you're going with this first before I comment.
Yeah, so Ryan, I'm not sure where I left off there, but I guess the bottom line is I think everybody's of the opinion we've got a good enough roster. So do we have can Matt LaFleur and his coaching staff now take the I guess Bill Belichick said the groceries, right? Can they take the groceries and can they serve up a Super Bowl dish? That's the only question now. So training camp size exciting. Here we go. Can't wait to continue to listen in on the pod, and as we get through preseason and these games, let's hope everybody can stay healthy. And at the same time, hopefully some of these young players and even some of these veterans that have been on the team can show some progress. One concern I do have is, obviously already we've got Aaron Banks. Well, I guess Grant Banks too. Both on the PUP. But Aaron Banks is on the PUP, going into camp here. It's the last thing you want to see. I mean, quite honestly, I'd be okay if he just was hurt constantly and never played again, and they just replaced him. I'd be fine with that. I think ultimately that's what they're going to end up doing anyway. So, but it's not a good look that we're going to have discontinuity on the offensive line. So, hopefully it's nothing major, and hopefully he can get back in there as quickly as possible, because clearly they want him to start, and he can stay healthy. So anyway, I'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Yeah, I wanted to hold off because I was waiting for you to say that everybody seems to think that the team is good enough, but I don't, or something to that effect. But I don't know that we fully got clarity on that, but I understand. At least in terms of where you're at on it, whether you agree or what. But either way, yeah, the coaching staff, I think, does have to get it done. I am of the mind. Now, that is that does come with a caveat, but I am of the mind this team is good enough to win a Super Bowl. The caveat being, I think about half the NFL has a team that's good enough to win a Super Bowl. Maybe that's an exaggeration. It's not quite a half, but a third or something is good enough to win a Super Bowl, which would put you roughly as a top 10-ish, top 12-ish kind of a team. So it's not and I think that's something else too, that a lot of people, we're not good enough to win a Super Bowl because blah, 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 and then they list off why things aren't perfect, or they'll list like the 1, 2, 3 teams that they think are better and why. Okay, but that doesn't mean everybody else is disqualified. A lot of people can win a Super Bowl. We always overhype like previous teams or whatever. It was the Eagles that everybody was chasing 2 years ago. Now nobody gives a crap about the Eagles, and now it's the Seahawks that everybody's going to be chasing. And there's a lot of reason to believe that that's going to massively fall off this year. So we think about these things in stupid terms sometimes. But I absolutely would put the Packers in that category. And one of the things that I wanted to do, maybe we'll do it tomorrow. I don't know. There's a lot that's built up for tomorrow. I think I've said like 10 different things. We'll do it tomorrow. Well, it wouldn't, not record. I'll record tomorrow for 2 days from now. But one of the things that I wanted to kind of look at is, everybody's focused on the Packers at the end. Bears fans, we beat the Packers. When did you beat them at full strength? And so, you're blaming injuries, you're blaming it. No, it's not even about blaming injuries. You won the game. I'm saying you won the game fair and square. But it's stupid to analyze a team that doesn't have Micah Parsons when you're going to be playing Micah Parsons. It's stupid to analyze how much better you are against a team that doesn't have Tucker Kraft or doesn't have Jaden Reed or doesn't have, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. So it's not about going backwards. It's about going forwards. It's stupid to pretend you're better than a fictional team that doesn't exist. And as to the point about injuries and whatnot, everybody has injuries, but not all injuries are equal. And last year we got decimated. And I saw some people pointing out, the Bears or something had more games lost due to injury or whatever. It's like, yeah, you lost a third string linebacker, dude. Shut the hell up. It would take 3 starters for you to equal the loss that we had in Micah Parsons. All right? Not all injuries are the same. Just losing a guy, you losing a backup linebacker compared to us losing Micah Parsons is not the same thing. You losing some trash cornerback and us losing Tucker Kraft is not equivalent. And, you look at, somebody showed like the most and least healthy teams, and like the healthiest teams in the NFL were like Seattle, LA. I mean, it was all the Super Bowl teams, the NFC North teams. It was all the top teams. So to some degree, yeah, injuries happen, but also if you expect to win, you better expect to be healthy, because if you're not, you're probably really not going to win. And again, the fact that we won a Super Bowl last year, yeah, that is beyond a fluke. It's fluky to win a Super Bowl. It's a fluky fluke of a fluke to win a Super Bowl in an injury-riddled season. And to pretend that you should be able to do that is kind of nonsense. If we are one of the more injured teams in football this year, I don't expect to win. Flat out. And no, I will not be blaming Matt LaFleur if that's the case. That's like test driving a car and somebody comes and slashes your tires and you go, well, the car's not good enough. And you're like, well, it's kind of unfair when it's running on its freaking rims. And you're like, well, if it was a good car, it should be able to run smoothly no matter what the circumstances. Sometimes, flat tires happen. Okay, dude, but that's a little stupid, don't you think? Because you're comparing two different things. You're comparing your expectations for a healthy team to your expectations, the met expectations of this unhealthy team. It's complete and total nonsense. There is luck involved in winning a Super Bowl. It's not all talent, and that's what's very frustrating, especially for the more negative fans. Because again, a lot of negative fans, I'm not talking about you, Mike, but a lot of negative fans, they want to believe genuinely that there are right answers, and if you just do the right things, then you'll win. And so that way they can easily look at Seattle and say, see, they must be doing all the right things. They must be the geniuses. They must have the right coaches, the right quarterbacks, the right GM who made all the right decisions because they won, and it's proof. And if you didn't win, it obviously proves that you didn't make all the right decisions. That's not true. There's so many things, so incredibly many things on a season-to-season, game-to-game, player-to-player, play-to-play basis that dictate wins and losses, that dictate success and all these other things. The reality is that a lot of people don't want to accept. A lot of success really does come down to luck. Yes, they won. If that would have happened, they wouldn't have won, right? I mean, you just go back to the Bears game. Again, fully admitting that the Bears won and admitting that we were not a good team, a good playoff team, didn't belong in the playoffs, all that stuff. If basically anything in the second half went differently, take any one thing and flip it the other direction, we probably win that game. So, again, that's why I can't, at this point in the season, get on board with, the sort of sentiment of, okay, either you give me the result I want or I'm going to say you're gone. I can't say that because I don't know what other factors are going to be involved. That assumes that the coach is in complete control of the destiny, and that's just not the reality. If the frickin', plane crashes that the team is on and, half the team survives and Matt LaFleur drags on some scrub squad and they don't win, well, we got to fire Matt LaFleur. If Jordan Love is out for the entire season and Tyrod Taylor is our quarterback and he's throwing to Josh Wiley because Tucker Kraft went out again and we lose all our wide receivers, am I going to fire Matt LaFleur? No, of course not. So, yeah, I don't know. We got to take it on a game-to-game basis and just see how the season plays out. But I will say, with a healthy roster, I expect a good team. That's about as strong of a sentiment as I can put out there, which I think is completely reasonable to say and to expect. But yeah, I'm going to have the other additional caveats. But again, that's one of the things that I want to kind of look at, which I don't know if I ever fully finished that, but the question of when the team was healthy, and this applies to the Packers, it applies to the Lions, it applies to the Bears, it applies to the Vikings. Look at them at their best. What were they? The Vikings are going to be tough because you're talking new quarterback, but you can still do it with their defense or whatever, and then apply a new quarterback or something. This, again, probably around week 14-ish for the Packers. What were the Packers? And even that, we're still missing a good portion of our team. But you look at that and say, okay, contend with that. Contend with that team. And then some. I believe genuinely Golden is an upgrade over Dobbs, and I think we're seeing that in training camp as he's just dominating every single day. I think there's this one again is a little bit more flimsy, but I'm starting to have a sense of belief in Cisse that I don't think I've ever had. I mean, from the second we drafted him on, I'm just starting to get a little bit of a feeling of this guy. Not that it's a super high bar to clear, but I think he might clear it and end up being a starter for us. And then again, how much time did Watson and Tucker have on the field together? Those two being on the field together with Golden, with Reed, all healthy, behind an improved offensive line, and for no other reason than they're healthy. But I also think Morgan's going to be an upgrade at left tackle. I think Belton has nowhere else to go but up at right guard. Zach Tom, who missed a bunch of time, is going to be back at right tackle and healthy. I mean, this already was one of the best offenses in football, and it was unbelievably disjointed at offense. We had no run game. We had no people to throw to. Jordan had no time to throw. It was a freaking mess, and we still had a top 5 offense. You get all these pieces back. Do I think this roster is good enough to win? Yeah. Yeah, I do. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, Ryan. This is Ben here from Minnesota.
Hey.
I've been listening every day. I just haven't called in for a while to
Appreciate you.
You know, I really haven't had much to say. But I'm watching Clayton's live coverage, training camp day 1. Got me thinking a little bit. And,
right.
I got some bold predictions.
Let's do it.
For the season.
I'm ready for it.
Way too early predictions.
Ready for bold predictions.
So here we go with those. The Packers are going to win the division.
Okay.
It's not a bold prediction. It's just what's going to happen.
I'll say, as much as that doesn't generally seem as a bold prediction, I would say that it probably is a decently bold prediction.
And just a little caveat on that.
Okay.
I think they're going to be the only NFC North team to make the playoffs.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's pretty bold.
And my next one, Jordan Love will have 4,500 yards.
Ooh, baby.
With Kraft and Reed both reaching 1,000.
Oh, all right. All right.
I think Kraft is going to lead the team with touchdowns. He's also going to have a big season over 1,000 yards.
Okay.
I got Josh Jacobs will have 5 receiving touchdowns.
Okay.
And Marshawn Lloyd is going to be healthy all year.
Okay.
I think they're both going to be feeling good at the end of the year I think they're both going to play very well this year. I think we got a not a new offensive line, but I think it's going to be good this year. I think it's going to be good. All right. For defense, bold prediction. Brandon Cisse will be a starter by the end of the year.
Okay.
I don't know who they're taking out or who might get injured or what, but I'm saying he's going to be a starter. I think he's going to play very well. I like him. I liked him in college. I was pretty excited about the pick, and I think he's going to be a starter. Bold predictions. Packers will have 4 Pro Bowlers on defense.
Okay.
And I'm thinking...
Let me think for a second. Yeah, McKinney, Micah, could be Williams and Cooper. I guess those could be the 4 right there. Could also argue for Wyatt, potentially Van Ness if he stays healthy all year. Hargrave is not impossible. And then obviously you could argue for Cisse if he ends up having a good year. So we'll see. Who are your 4?
Xavier Coop, or X, Cowboy Coop,
Yep.
Micah Parsons,
Yep.
and Evan Williams are all going to make the Pro Bowl. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're not going to be able to play in it anyway.
Right.
So, those are my bold predictions. I also think Barron Sorrell is going to have a breakout year, but that's less of a bold prediction and something I just kind of want to happen. I've also been seeing a lot of stuff on Instagram and all that good stuff about Matthew Golden training, and he looks fast. Ooh, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a good year. Let's have a healthy training camp.
Yeah, I saw the video of him. I think, who is it? Like Tank Dell or somebody like that? Somebody that you think of as being kind of a shifty receiver. Smaller guy. But I remember watching it and just being like, dude, Golden is, not that he's up against a top 10 guy necessarily. If it was Tank, he arguably could be. It's been several years. I don't know. I don't think it was Tank Dell. But it was night and day. Like you could pick out which one was Golden as being the better route runner, the smoother, faster out of his break, all that stuff guy. He looked real good. And yeah, that would be another, anyone interested in doing bold takes, there's plenty to do, and I could start posing a million different questions, but that sort of edge 2 or edge 3 when Micah gets back question, who's it going to be? And are we going to like it or not? Is it Barron Sorrell? Is it Deni Dennis Sutton? I'm skeptical of kind of across the board, as I've already mentioned, but I'm skeptical of pretty much everybody until they break out, with the exception of Cisse right now for whatever reason. I just got a weird little bug about that, and I'm standing on that. But definitely keep the hot takes a-coming. Mike Hebring.
Good morning, Ryan. Mike Hebring, a.k.a. Packers Superfan.
Howdy.
Happy belated day one of Packers training camp. Quick, actually, I know I'm known for being more of a realistic fan and occasionally having a negative take or two. So we're going to keep it positive today.
There you go.
On day one of training camp. Three highlights I have from training camp yesterday. Number one, Carl Brooks. Yeah, Carl Brooks. I see Carl Brooks was with the starting unit on defense at defensive end. Fantastic. Carl Brooks, as I've probably said many times, has always been a defensive end, either a defensive end in a 3-4 or a defensive end in a 4-3. He was never going to be a defensive tackle in the NFL, and I know that the Packers continue to try to push that square peg into a round hole. But the positive here is he's playing defensive end in this 3-4. I love to see it. That's his natural position. That's what he played at Bowling Green. That's what he was good at. So fantastic that somebody on the defensive line, coaching staff, finally realized that that's where he should be playing. That's going to play out well for the Packers. My prediction is Carl Brooks is going to be a breakout player this year. Especially if they keep him at that defensive end position. Number two positive, Aaron Banks off the PUP. Wow.
Forgot to mention that on your last call.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Again, the continuity in the offensive line, with or without Aaron Banks, is critical.
You think that's exciting? Wait till you get to day 3 and Tucker Kraft comes off the PUP list.
So if Aaron Banks is going to be the guy, and they gave him all that money, and then double down on it again, I guess the best case scenario is that he stays healthy. So let's all hope that that's the case. So unfortunately, that terrorist story still continues. But on the positive side, he's healthy. I'm going to try to stay positive, and hopefully he can perform up anywhere near just average. Forget the contract. I mean, there's some cost there now, so we just got to get past that. And then my third positive is Keyshawn Nixon. Yeah, K-Dog. So K-Dog apparently is doing a hold-in with a fake hammy, which is cool. Everybody knew this was coming. This is not a surprise. And I know a lot of the media is trying to play it off as, he just got a hamstring. No, we know what this is. And, to me, it's a huge positive.
Got cut off there. So good news, more good news. Guys continue to get healthy and whatnot. Keyshawn is actually back practicing. I think by practice 2, he was back out there. So looks like he's not actually going to do the holdout thing, which is a good bit of news. We don't need that kind of nonsense right now. And better news yet, on day 3, he actually sounded like he had a really fantastic day, multiple pass breakups, et cetera, et cetera. So not that I'm necessarily expecting him to be an elite player, but I guess you could argue he's picking up where he left off last year as one of the highest pass breakup numbers in the NFL last year. Comes in this year, had 2 pass breakups at least in day 3 of training camp. Go over that tomorrow. But yeah, I'm with you on Banks. I especially with the contract thing. It's not that it doesn't matter, because it does. But, people keep harping on the contract and all that. Look, it is what it is. We paid the guy. We got to have somebody play there. Of course we overpaid. Of course I hate the decision. Okay? At some point we got to move past that, though, and we got to have this guy play. Let me put it this way. He's never going to live up to that contract because he's never been that good. In his entire career, he's never been good enough to earn that contract. So that's dead in the water. It was a stupid decision by Brian Gutekunst to pay him that much money to come here. Now, they obviously disagree. They feel like he was worth that contract. And you know what? Hey, for all I know, and PFF be damned, for all I know, this guy is one of the better interior offensive linemen in football and did deserve that contract. And he'll come back healthy and earn it. Great. I look forward to that, but I'm not expecting that. So I'm with you insofar as we just need him to come back and perform up to any level. That is to say, any sort of standard baseline, like he's okay kind of a level. I don't know what that even necessarily means other than be healthy and don't be a liability. If you can do that, I'll take that as a win. Oh, no, he's got to live up to his contract. Well, again, that's not going to happen. So we're going to have to deal with what we have right now. It's already in the loss column, in my opinion. It's already a loss. We overpaid for it. But now I'm focused on what do we need to have a good team. And if Aaron Banks can be a decent player, contract aside, then we can have a decent to good offensive line, depending on the rest of the four guys. Jordan Love can have more time in the pocket, which he had no time in the pocket last year. We might be able to have some semblance of a run game. We had no run game last year, and that will take our top five-ish offensive line and arguably make it the number one offense in football. There's no reason they can't reach that level of play. So big picture, yeah, I need Banks to be healthy and competent. So, yeah, good to hear your positive takes and even your hot takes. I'm certainly much lower on Brooks. I don't really see him as being a very good player. I get what you're saying, although I do tend to think of a 3-4 defensive end as it's not that big of a position change. He's still an interior defensive lineman. But hopefully, yeah, that is change enough to allow him to do a little bit more of what he's better at. You know, that is when we're running a base defense and he can, be between the nose tackle and the edge rusher. And maybe we'll get a little bit more productivity out of him. We do have a very good, a coach that's renowned for pass rush. So maybe he can help him at least be a little bit more productive in that way. That'd be nice. He's another guy that I have rock bottom expectations for. So any amount of productivity, I'll just take as a win. All right, let's take a break. We'll be back with Chris from Alabama.
Hey, what's going on, Ryan? Chris from Alabama. Just giving a call back today, listening to the episode of Packing It After Dark, and I know you said that you forgot the name of the podcast. The name of the podcast, and just in case anybody else forgot, the name of the podcast is the Cheesehead Connections Podcast. Just type in Cheesehead Connection on pretty much all the main social media websites, and you'll pull me up. I'm on everything: TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, Cheesehead Connection for everything, and this should pop up. But yeah, like I said, the first episode is out. I'm working on my first episode of Unhinged. Hopefully it'll be out either by the time this phone call is played or right after the time this phone call is played. I'm kind of trying to finish it up. Get off work today and finish it up, edit everything, try to shoot it on out. It's also going to be on Spotify, Amazon Music, and all that good stuff. So if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you can listen to it while you working in the yard or whatever y'all doing, whenever y'all get a chance. But since I did call in to remind everybody about that, I do have something that I'm watching, and I know everybody else is watching. So, first day of camp was yesterday, and all of a sudden, old Keyshawn Nixon got a hamstring injury. So, from what I've seen, and I know I seen a post from Clayton on it, saying that, he passed his physical, everything was good to go, and now all of a sudden he got a hamstring injury. I hope this man is not trying to call himself holding in the camp. Then again, I kind of hope he do, because if you so-called got a hamstring and you so-called trying to hold in, that's gonna be the best humbling scenario for this player
You know, it's funny now that you mention that. We might as well have fun with the conspiracy theory here. What I was going to say is obviously we know he came back. But the good news on that one day anyways, was that we did get an opportunity to see Brandon Cisse, and he actually did look pretty good. And as I was thinking through that answer to myself as you were talking, there come the conspiracy theory. This man stood on the sideline, riding a bicycle, watching Cisse have a fantastic day, called his agent, said F you, put his helmet on and ran out there and went to try to get his job back. Listen, it's not impossible. It's certainly not impossible that is what happened. I don't think that's what happened, but it is the funnier. What is that thing? There's one of those law things where it's like whatever is most likely to be the thing is the most likely thing, or whatever the case. But there's also one where it's like whatever is the funniest outcome is the most likely to be true. That's the case here. I'm officially, the official stance of the Packernet Podcast Network is that Keyshawn Nixon did hold in for one game, saw Brandon Cisse, saw how good he looked, said, screw this, I'm going out there tomorrow, and he went out there and played. Which is just good news all around, in my opinion, aside from the part where now Cisse is out running with the twos half the time.
It's going to be the most humbling experience because he's just about to watch somebody take his job. And I think it'll be the man that they look like they pushing right now is Brandon Cisse. Mm-hmm. They had him doing first team reps yesterday. He's
pretty good, too.
So I'm hoping that Cisse can pick up the offense enough. I'm sorry, not the offense, the defense. Pick up the defense enough to secure that job. I really hope he has enough to secure that job, and he's gonna sit there and watch him take his job. Because man, that's gonna be the biggest mistake of your life. I don't know if that's what it is, but that's what it seems like right now to me. If you just had a hamstring injury. And now all of a sudden, I mean, well, you were.
So Mike Hebring is next. He called it like the exact same time, but Chris did call back. So we're going to leapfrog Mike, and then we'll come back to it after this. Here's Chris part 2.
Yeah, 3-minute market got me. I think it was a good thing because I got tongue twisted like a mug then. But all of a sudden, you pass your physical, you 100% healthy, and now all of a sudden when camp starts, you got a hamstring pull. That kind of screen like you kind of slick holding in. But that would be the biggest mistake he ever made. And it might be the best thing for the fan base that think like me that really don't too much care for the guy and really want to go on anyway. But, yeah, let's sit there and watch his job get took.
And I'll say this to add on to it. The fact that Keyshawn came back, so day 2, he was not very good, and he started getting picked on. Day 3, Keyshawn was probably the best cornerback out there, and Valentine was out there making plays too, and Cisse was pretty quiet. I think he made a play, but it was like second team, which he's probably going to spend more time on. The fact of the matter is this is shaping up to be actually a pretty solid competition. First of all, positive news, they're all looking quite good, which I've always said that the corners are underrated. Not that they're good corners necessarily. I think they're average corners, but you know they're not as bad as Packer fans want to make them out to be. But the fact is, the competition, I think, is going to be good for them. I think they're all going to be out there fighting for their livelihood. You know, Keyshawn, I think, legitimately knows that there's a chance his job is on the line. Valentine absolutely knows his neck is out there on the cut and block. And Cisse has not won anything yet. I mean, he's as of right now, he is not a starter. So I think it's bringing out the best in them, and I think we got our first fun, legitimate competition that is kicking off here, as far as I can tell.
Look, that's what you're trying to do, man. I advise him, he better get out there on the field and compete and try to win his position, because his position ain't safe as he might think it is. He ain't got no leverage, man. You an average corner. Yep. And I wanted to talk about it on my podcast, but I said I was going to leave him alone unless he ended up holding on to camp. So he at camp. But if he hold in, well, I'm going to have to get him. I'm going to sit back and watch him. Because it might be something going on with the hamstring, little tweak here and then. Today he might practice. If he be out there today practicing, or a couple of days or something, I'm going to sit back and see. I ain't going to pull the trigger just yet, but I do got my eye on that. And if that is the case, that's a big mistake for number 25, man. But that's all I wanted to call in about, man. And like I said, I'm gonna keep my eye on it. And either way, I ain't tripping. I think if he even come out there, I think C-State can do enough to get that job. If they give him the opportunity, it looks like they giving him the opportunity off the bat with Sean not out there. But go, Pack, go, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, and I think that is the other side of it too. Is it is fickle. You know, if Cisse goes down with an injury, that might just be the end of it. Same for Valentine. Maybe even for Nixon, even though I think the team is pretty sold on him. But, you know, for any considerable amount of time, you might have your group out there. So you got to be real. You got to be out there putting on your best foot forward 100%. But also you got to stay healthy, because if you get shut down, that might be it for you. Also, I did get a chance to listen to Chris's podcast. First of all, it's always fun to be able to put a face with the voice. So you get a chance to go see Chris from Alabama. Does a very good job, as you would expect. And I'm looking forward to getting a few more shows from him. So make sure you do him a favor. Go check out his podcast, YouTube, wherever. Subscribe and show him some support. All right, let's finish it here with Mike Hebring.
The more chances Brandon Cisse and St. Juice get while K-Dog is doing whatever K-Dog does, that's fantastic. Let those guys play. Let those guys take those spots, and then K-Dog can either be traded or, you know.
I didn't even realize this is his part 2 of the 3-minute monster. My bad.
Do whatever K-Dog does. You know, maybe become the actual kickoff returner, which is what he was signed to do in the first place, and a backup cornerback. That's what his contract was for. It wasn't for him to play number 1 corner. He was never given a contract to be the number 1 corner on the football team. He's just been the number 1 corner by default. So huge positive there that he's not practicing. So those are my 3 positives. What a great start to training camp. Can't wait for day 2.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a sad day, too, for you when Keyshawn goes back out there. But, again, hopefully it ends up being a good thing where these guys really do drastically improve. And we'll see how it shapes up, you know. Ultimately, as long as the coaches make the right decision and put the best cornerbacks out there, whatever that combination is, I'll get behind it. I think what we're mostly afraid of is they're not going to do that. The good thing is, again, Keyshawn, his main connection to this team is now gone in Rich Bisaccia, who was the assistant head coach. It wasn't like he was just some special teamer. He had a pretty powerful voice in that room. But additionally, we also have a new defensive coordinator now who doesn't have any real connection to any of these guys, which I think is also good for Valentine in terms of, you know, he gets to come back, he gets to review the tape for the last several years and come to his own determination, regardless of how Jeff Hafley felt or whatever, to say this is how I think it should go. I still think it's going to be Keyshawn number 1, and then Valentine trying to stave off Cisse, which will work for a period of time, and then eventually, because he's a second-round pick, will end up winning that job, which sucks, because I do like Valentine. I just don't really see it going any other way. And I hope I'm wrong. But either way, again, just give me 2 good corners out there on the boundary, and I will support it. But, all right, I'm going to leave it at that. I appreciate all of the calls. We've got Omar, Garrett, TJ, Uncle Rico for tomorrow. Not quite enough calls, so get your calls in. We've had a couple more days of training camp, so I look forward to hearing your thoughts on that, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.